Yochanan, I'm going to follow up on the first question, if that's okay, Rabbi Bleich. It's a little bit connected to your first question, but this is a personal question from someone. This person writes, I myself experienced a lot of trauma growing up. I attended Fresh Start, and I've been in the healing journey for a while. My husband is a trauma survivor as well, but has no interest in doing any work on himself. He just spends his time in bed. He barely gets out of bed just to go to work and back home. I have 3 sons that are at the age that should be going to shul. One is over bar mitzvah and should be gaining a positive experience with mitzvos. Rosh Hashanah is a time that I feel the lack of him being a father even more. I don't know what to do about them attending shul, about them getting an experience and celebrating Rosh Hashanah, having a Rosh Hashanah atmosphere at home. What do I do as the mother?
It's a real painful question. And despite the fact that it officially is a question about what to do with children and Rosh Hashanah, it's in every line there that the question is not only about children, not only about Rosh Hashanah. It's taka very tough. Taka very tough. And nobody here, chas v'sholom, is here to judge anyone, including that husband, who again, trauma survivor is a trauma survivor, and sometimes it's not clear how much is trauma and how much is survivor. But especially when somebody gets up and does do something for themselves, it feels that much worse when it's like, why can't you also go do something about it? And the loneliness in this question is a himmel geshrei, mamish. I feel terrible for this woman, I must say. From the bottom of my heart, first of all, I hope that her husband has a Yeshua. When I say Yeshua, I just mean enough of a Yeshua to feel that he has something that he can do about this, because so much of not doing anything about something is despair. Much of it is fear, I'll say. Sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's despair, sometimes it's both. And the fear, I'll say clearly, and possibly anyone who went to Fresh Start faced that fear. But I know, I just mentioned this week to somebody, I'm just thinking of one person right now who I know for a number of years has been saying to me that she knows that she needs to go to Fresh Start, but is afraid to do that just because of what you have to unpack and face. And in a sense, it comes from a mature sense of reality and truth, that you know that you're not about to face something that's very simple. I'm also just in the middle now of somebody who just got the Fresh Start questionnaire, which I assume everyone on this webinar here has gone through before they came. And, just to look at the questionnaire already, so who's anyone to judge anyone for not wanting to do it? But again, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to wish a Yeshua, like I said, to that husband, just enough that he should be able to deal better with the fear and with the despair, and maybe be able to do more for himself. But for now, this woman is nabach very alone. And again, when both spouses are both trauma survivors, in a sense, the two of them can be the greatest allies of each other. In a sense, it's also such a difficult situation where there's nobody to pick up the pieces and hold it all together. I feel, again, terrible for this woman who definitely is going above and beyond in that. To the children, which is the official question here, I'm going to have to painfully go with Emunah here and say, Avi Yisayim v'dayin almonis. These are Yisayim, their parents are alive. So we call in Yiddish Lebediki Yisayim. Parents are alive, but they're still Yisayim. Sadly, so many people on this webinar could relate to that themselves. But it's still Avi Yisayim v'dayin almonis. And twofold. First of all, the Rebbeinu Shalom should and will step in and give these children whatever they need. Second of all, I want to do something that's not what's usually done, which I want to praise Kali. So too often there's a lot of bitterness and criticism. Why don't people do more of this? Why don't people do more of that? And I'm not saying it's never warranted, but it's also definitely warranted to say the Klal Yisrael has made tremendous strides. And in many communities today, when there is difficulty, there is somebody at least who's willing to step up and help with kids. Nowadays, unfortunately, there are much more products of divorce and etc., where kids need the community to step up, and very often they do. Again, nobody knows what the exact circumstances are, but I want to encourage this woman. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. But to please, whoever can, to whatever degree you can, ask for help. And please, whoever can, offer help. And please, whoever can, give help. Because these kids, whatever they're not getting from their father, Halavai should be able to get, first of all, in their cheder, in their yeshiva, in their school, from their rebbe, from their teacher. Second of all, in shul, from somebody. And it's something that, again, we're all brothers and sisters, and we want to be in this together. I mentioned before my father and his shleishim. I'm speaking to everyone here openly. We're in Fresh Start here right now. Yeah. Not here to speak of some kind of special sainthood in my father, although normally, somebody's nifta and then it's achri meis kedoshim emor, and that's the minhag in Klal Yisrael to do, and it's a good thing to do because we learn a lot of good from people that way. But I will say, I'm going to quote my brother here on this, who last night when we got together for the shleishim, he said that he was in shul on Shabbos and a kid came into shul, a bocherel, no idea who he was, but it was very clear that he was very confused and unfamiliar with what davening looked like, to the extent that, when the Olam was saying Kedusha, he was walking around. Most people know that you stand with your feet together by Kedusha. It was clear that he was very uncomfortable, unfamiliar, etc. And my brother said, honestly, and he, by the way, my brother is a Yid who does with people of Allah Zayden. He's really, somebody who's out there for Yidden. And still, he said, everyone's looking around, and not my problem, not my business, not my issue, etc. And he said to himself, what would my father have done? And my father would have walked over and put his arm around this kid and chap the shmuz with him, so he did that. And I'm here to call out to everyone, including myself, by the way. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's not have kindness on anybody. Let's just try to do that. Let's really try to reach out to people and do the best we can to make another Yiddish kind comfortable. By the way, that doesn't have to only be a yosim or somebody whose father's not in shul. There are plenty of adults who could use that too. So, Atkan, there's nothing more I could say about this. It's a painful thing. It's a painful outcry. And let's try to do our best.